Assalamu alaikum students, this is Ms. Beena. I'm here to explain you the chapter Shifting the Equilibrium. This chapter is partially included in your February breakup and the remaining chapter will be inshallah ta'ala covered in your March breakup. So let's have a short revision of the previous chapter which we discussed in the class, that is reversible reaction, because that chapter is related with the shifting the equilibrium chapter. So you need to revise it as well. So what is a reversible reaction? If you remember, we have already discussed that it is a reaction that goes in both directions. Both direction means that forward direction and backward direction. It means that if we are performing a reaction, for example, hydrogen is reacting with oxygen and water is formed. So it's a forward reaction, and once the reaction is done and it again be converted into its reactants, means water is again breaking down into hydrogen and oxygen, and then it is a backward reaction. So if a reaction goes in both directions, then that reaction will be called a reversible reaction. Then we also discussed that dynamic equilibrium is the state in which forward and backward reactions take place continuously at the same time. What does it mean? It means that if we are performing a reversible reaction, then after a while, when the amounts of reactants and products will become equal, then that reaction will be reaching the state of equilibrium. And in equilibrium, what will happen? That the forward and backward reactions will take place at the same time and at the same rate. So this was a short revision about the previous chapter. Now, let's discuss in this chapter the topic, the manufacture of ammonia. This reaction is reversible and commercially very important because ammonia is really a demanded gas which is used in many different purposes, for example, in manufacture of fertilizers, etc. So its chemical equation is in front of you, in which one molecule of nitrogen is reacting with 3 molecules of hydrogen to form 2 molecules of ammonia. And the double arrow which is written in the equation is showing that it is a reversible reaction. Do you think that all hydrogen and nitrogen will be combining to form ammonia? No. Why? Because it is a reversible reaction, and once the amounts of nitrogen, hydrogen and ammonia will become equal, then the system will reach the state of dynamic equilibrium, as it is already discussed. So what will happen? Every time 2 ammonia molecules will be forming, the other 2 will be breaking down into nitrogen and hydrogen to maintain that state of equilibrium. So the level of ammonia remains unchanged. So if I am an industrialist and I want to make more ammonia, what should I do? How can I increase the yield then? Let's discuss a principle, Chateliers Principle. This principle was proposed by the chemist Chatelier, and it is a very important principle in order to understand a reversible reaction. When a reversible reaction is in equilibrium and you make a change, it will do what it can to oppose that change. What does it mean? It means that if we are performing a reversible reaction and that reaction at a certain time will reach the state of equilibrium, and we want to break that state of equilibrium, then definitely we will make a change. That change can be change in temperature, pressure, or including or adding a catalyst, or increasing the reactants amounts, or etc. Any change. It can be any change. Then what will happen? That change will be countered by the system. That system will do whatever it can to oppose that change and coming back towards the state of equilibrium. This is called the Chateliers Principle. So it means that we can't make a reversible reaction going towards completion. It will always end up in a state of equilibrium. So how can we increase the yield then? By changing the conditions, we can shift equilibrium to the right and obtain more product. So we have to control the state of equilibrium by changing or inducing some effective changes in the system so that we can increase the yield. Let's discuss it. First change that can be done in the reaction is increasing the temperature. I won't say that this is a positive change. Let's see by discussing it first that this change is good for the yield or not. Do you know that the forward reaction of production of ammonia is exothermic, in which ammonia is produced? That is, when nitrogen is reacting with hydrogen and ammonia is formed, it is an exothermic reaction, which is already done in the class, and you know very well that this is the reaction in which energy is given out. And the backward reaction is endothermic, in which it is broken down. Always remember, if one reaction is exothermic in a reversible reaction, then the opposite reaction will definitely be endothermic. So if we will heat the equilibrium mixture, it will act to oppose that change, as it is discussed by Le Chatelier's principle. More ammonia will be broken down. Why more ammonia is breaking down if we are increasing the temperature? If you will think about the backward reaction, which I told you that it is endothermic, and backward reaction is in which ammonia is again breaking down into nitrogen and hydrogen, as it is an endothermic reaction. And endothermic means it will be absorbing the heat. So if I will increase the temperature, then this is a positive change for the backward reaction, and ammonia will be further breaking down into nitrogen and hydrogen. The reaction reaches equilibrium faster, but the level of ammonia decreases. So it is not good for the yield. We are worse than before. You can also see this picture in which the first reaction is exothermic, which is giving out heat energy, and the backward reaction is endothermic, which is taking in heat energy. And when we combine the two reactions, it becomes a reversible reaction. So we can summarize this change that increasing the temperature is inversely proportional to the yield of ammonia. So this is not a good option for the yield. Now let's discuss some questions, and you need to answer them by yourself. Question number 1. What is Le Chatelier's principle? How is it applicable in the production of ammonia? Question number 2. What is the effect on the production of ammonia if we increase temperature? And question number 3 is, if only a moderate temperature is provided, what is the effect on the equilibrium of the reaction? Thank you, students. Allah Hafiz.